A wedding. Dear Diary, my carriage jolts along a muddy road through a forest so oppressively dark it might trouble even the most cheerful soul. Opposite me sulks my clerk, a creature of rodent-like melancholy, blankly staring out of the window in the expectation that the view might reveal some interesting diversion from the awkward hours of close confinement with his master. Meanwhile, my servant enjoys the dubious luxury of fresh air atop the carriage alongside the driver. 2 days of potholes and abominable coaching-house beds have done nothing to soothe my loathing for this journey. Worse still, it ends in the clutches of tiresome relations at a wedding, an event saved only by the dull comfort of financial discussion, hence the regrettable expense of bringing my clerk. As the sun feebly expires, my carriage lurches from the forest's grasp into a landscape of nauseating prosperity. Fertile fields, rustic barns and cottages, reeking of bourgeois contentment, all a stark contrast to my own beleaguered upland estate, where even the weeds have the decency to wither in shame.
Turning onto a private drive, we slowed past a solemn stone wall, a grey scar across the countryside. A wrought-iron gate loomed ahead, delicate as lace, forbidding as law. Beyond it lay our destination, a house steeped in lineage wealth, and, most distressingly, the insufferable good humour of my second cousin. I find myself, rather regrettably, related to nearly every ruling werewolf dynasty in Fantasia, a peculiar consequence of our prodigious litters. We are, after all, a breed that prizes the consolidation of wealth and power within our hallowed bloodlines, dismissing with cavalier disdain the caprices of genetic roulette. Should nature, in her occasional cruelty, present us with an imbecilic heir or two, well, the family mansions are ever generous with their attic rooms to house such indelicate embarrassments. A pair of eyes flickered beyond the gate, belonging to some unfortunate underling who assessed the carriage before vanishing again. With the squeal of bolts, the gate swung open. Beyond lay my host's residence, less a house than a gaudy demand for admiration. Sprawling across the land like an overfed beast, the carriage halted before a portico flanked by marble wolves, their sculpted sneers exuding an exquisite disdain, whether for guests or life itself remained unclear. The carriage door creaked open, revealing a footman whose expression suggested he had long since abandoned hope. Without a word, he extended a gloved hand as if offering condolences rather than assistance. I turned to my clerk, gesturing vaguely at the luggage, confident my servant would soon appear, if only to perfect the art of looking busy while achieving nothing. I emerged from the carriage to find my cousin Lycurgus waiting in the stone doorway, swathed in a brocade dressing gown of such decadence it practically purred, his grin revealing an unsettling abundance of dazzling teeth, hinting at either great affection or a dietary interest.
"My dear cousin," he bellowed, "here at last. You look positively exhausted." I inclined my head, acknowledging both his greeting and my misfortune. "Nothing a chair and a brandy won't cure," I sighed, exuding noble suffering. "You poor soul," he simpered. "Shall I fetch a cushion and a woolen blanket for your fragile frame?" Sarcasm. My expression, I believe, served as an adequate rebuke. Before I could escape, he ensnared me in an embrace of boa constrictor-like strength and marched me inside, leaving lesser beings to deal with the baggage. I was conducted into the grand entrance hall, a temple of lupine rural charm, where oak panels and antique tapestries, adorned with scenes devoted to the noble brutality of the hunt, hung in silent witness to centuries of tradition. With the front door firmly closed on the servants, I immediately turned my back on Lycurgus, bent in a low bow toward the wall, lifted my tail, and waited for his wet nose to press inside the back sleeve of my breeches, allowing him access to my social glands. As a newcomer in the house, it would be the height of rudeness had I not bowed first.
My host withdrew his nose, turned, and with a theatrical swish spread the tails of his dressing gown and bowed in reciprocation. I availed myself of his own particular bouquet, an olfactory sonnet, deeply inhaling my host's unmistakably good-natured pheromones. Formalities over, we continued walking.
Lahnstein, I see you're still dabbing that flowery perfume up your backside. Cologne, I corrected him, and it's not flowery, it's described as a light woodland breeze. Woodland, with an unmistakable crop of lavender hiding in the undergrowth. Well, you've arrived. And Lahnstein, old boy, how deliciously predictable you are too, fashionably late as ever.
As you can smell, the majority of guests are already here, busy enjoying the generosity of my wine cellar. Indeed, my nostrils were promptly filled by the heady symphony of wealth, the mingling aromas of expensive perfumes, alcohol, fur, and excited pheromones. I was steered toward one of the antechambers adjoining the hall, from which issued the ceaseless drone of small talk. Oh, the familial reunion, the dutiful business of smiling and nodding at relations. I arranged my features into what I deemed a polite and engaging expression, pausing briefly before a silver tray on a passing side table to confirm the result, which disappointingly resembled some grinning death mask of one mercilessly executed by means of an unconventional introduction to a medium-sized marrow. I sighed inwardly and resigned myself to the evening's theatre,
and followed Lycurgus through the doorway.